Alright, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but this is a total mess. But you can't deny that Pokemon is starting the new year with some pretty big changes and even bigger surprises. Whether it's the latest industry news, noteworthy sales, or developing stories, that's what we do here, keep you informed of all things Pokemon. Anyway, today's episode of Breaking News is one you don't want to miss. I'm Pokemon Classics, and I invite you to join me through our monthly recap. Let's roll the intro. Hey everybody, what's up from Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Today we're breaking down the top 5 news stories in Pokemon, along with some of my own personal thoughts and commentary on each one. That is my goal on this channel after all, is to keep you all informed whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly. Also, as is tradition on this series, don't forget to stick around to the end of the video for my top 5 content recommendations. These are some of the best videos on all of PokeTube of the month, and I'd highly encourage you to give each one of them a watch. Anyway, let's dive into our first news story. This first headline is a follow-up to a developing story from the last episode of Breaking News, but after winning the Pokemon World Coronation Series Master 8 tournament, rumors and speculation have been rapidly circulating about what would be next in store for Ash and Pikachu. Well, it wouldn't take long, however, for Nintendo to announce its intentions to bring Ash's story arc to a close and introduce a pair of new protagonists to the Pokemon anime. Originally debuting in Japan in 1997, the Pokemon anime has followed Ash on his journey to become the world's greatest Pokemon trainer for about 25 years, with quite a few ups and downs along the way. However, after accomplishing his goal to be the very best, Nintendo announced that the upcoming season of the anime would be the last for this iconic duo. The upcoming season, which will feature 11 episodes, is scheduled to debut in Japan on January 13th, 2023. After which, Pokemon will be transitioning to a pair of new protagonists, Liko and Roy. Now, I don't generally watch the anime anymore, though I was highly invested in the early seasons of the show, but still, I can't help but feel like this is a mistake by the Pokemon Company. Ash and Pikachu have been iconic mainstays of the Pokemon franchise since its inception, and discontinuing their journey feels like a hollow attempt to win over some new fans with the novelty of new characters at the expense of the heart and soul of Pokemon. But perhaps I'm just being a boomer, imposing my sense of childhood nostalgia on the franchise rather than letting it evolve into a new direction. Anyway, I'm looking forward to watching these new 11 episodes concluding Ash's journey, and I'm sure it'll be bittersweet. You have to let me know down in the comments what you think about Pokemon's decision to retire Ash and Pikachu. If nothing else, I'm curious to learn more about what the future holds for the Pokemon anime. Speaking of changes to Pokemon nostalgia, there are some big changes coming to the Pokemon TCG with the introduction of the next generation, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. With Pokemon recently dropping Crown Zenith, the much-anticipated final set of the Sword and Shield era, attention has already been slowly turning to the Scarlet and Violet expansion. Currently scheduled for its English release on March 31st, Scarlet and Violet is set to feature an entirely new lineup of Pokemon with some notable aesthetic changes to the cards. Most notable is the change in border color from its traditional yellow to silver, aligning the cards more closely with their Japanese counterparts. Now, there has been a lot of debate about these new aesthetics, with collectors already taking sides, Team Yellow border or Team Silver border. Personally, I'm a vintage collector and something of a traditionalist myself, so the yellow borders will always have a unique place in my heart. However, I can't deny the appeal of the silver borders. Ideally, I'd recommend the hollow silver border as found on the early EX cards. Now those were something special. Anyway, the new expansion also offers some new game mechanics for players and plenty of secret rares for collectors. Early reports indicate that the set will feature 198 cards, including 6 hyper-rare gold cards and 10 special illustration cards, some of which have already leaked from Japan. Scarlet and Violet is also reported to feature 3 holo cards per pack, with EX cards making a return in place of V cards. Additionally, a new type of Terra Pokemon, or terrestrialized Pokemon, will be introduced, and these crystal-like Pokemon will supposedly be impervious to damage while on the bench, adding a new dynamic to gameplay. It goes without saying that Pokemon is always seeking to break new ground and try innovative new approaches to the card game, And I have to admit, I like the new starters better than some of the previous generations. Personally, I'm a Quaxley fan. I think he's the best. It kind of reminds me of Dewey, one of the triplets from the original DuckTales, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Violet and Scarlet? Are you excited? Let me know down in the comments down below. Next, let's explore some product news. As many of you may know, the start of 2023 signaled the end of the special delivery Charizard promo from the Pokemon Center. However, in its place is an entirely new promo giveaway. Back in 2022, Pokemon hosted an illustration contest immortalizing 3 winners by mass-producing their artworks as official licensed promo cards. These cards, featuring Arcanine, Bulbasaur, and Greninja, are now part of the last Pokemon Center giveaway. Personally, I like the Bulbasaur the best of the 3, but each has its own unique appeal. Anyway, like the special delivery Charizard, collectors must pre-register through the Pokemon Center website and, if selected, will be sent a redeemable code to receive a single pack consisting of all 3 promo cards, with the purchase of $30 from the Pokemon Center website in products or merchandise. Now, as someone who signed up for the special delivery Charizard code early on and never received one, I hope this process has been refined and is less susceptible to bots this time around. That would be ideal. On a different note, another interesting product has made its debut in Pokemon Leagues, which have introduced Pokemon prize packs in place of traditional play promos. Now, each of these prize packs consists of 6 random cards printed with the Play Pokemon logo. Reports have already suggested that there are about 200 different cards in total, including a variety of fan favorites for collectors, as well as competitive cards for deck building. Now, some of these cards have already experienced high demand amongst collectors, with some going for high prices on secondary markets like eBay and TCG Player, leading to concerns of hoarding and scalping rather than the intended league distribution. Although I don't have any experience in this area, I did used to run a league for several years, and I sincerely hope that these packs are making it to their intended audience. I'll never forget how excited my own league attendees were to earn badges and promo cards, so I think prize packs are an awesome way to build a bit more excitement and reward the commitment of players and collectors at these local levels. In other product news, modern Pokemon has been experiencing some unusual volatility, due at least in part to high demand and product shortages of booster boxes. Many collectors and commentators have noted this phenomenon, citing price spikes for numerous sets, including some of the traditionally stagnant sets like Battle Styles and Chilling Reign, seeing significant growth in the last few weeks. In fact, the Pokemon Company acknowledged this trend on their social media accounts, with renewed promises to increase production and potentially reprint sets to help meet demand, just like they have done in the past. If you recall, back in 2020 and 2021, modern Pokemon experienced significant product shortages, followed by waves of mass hoarding and product scalping, before Pokemon was able to catch up with printing and bring an equilibrium back to the market. In fact, Pokemon demonstrated its commitment to accessibility by printing over 9 billion cards from March 2021 to March of 2022, the largest single-year influx of Pokemon cards in Pokemon's entire history. Fortunately, the market supply imbalance seems small by comparison, affecting booster boxes almost exclusively. Some have speculated that this is due in part to the shift in era as Pokemon prepares to leave Sword and Shield behind and transition into the new era of Violet and Scarlet. According to some speculators out there, these sets often become more desirable at the end of the generational cycle, while another theory suggests that the recent introduction of Pokemon to mainland China has contributed to a greater demand from the increase in consumer base. China is currently several sets behind the rest of the world, still in the Sun and Moon era, so it's plausible that Chinese customers are influencing the market by looking to update their catalogs. Of course, there could be any number of other reasons why modern booster boxes are experiencing a spike in attention. However, it does beg the question of to what degree will we see Sword and Shield reprints moving forward? As a collector of vintage cards myself, I'm a little out of my element here, so that's where I'll turn to you, the viewers. What do you foresee for these Sword and Shield sets? To what extent do you think Pokemon will reprint them, and how might that affect their value moving forward? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Finally, we'll wrap up this month's news with everyone's favorite subject, taxes. If you're a buyer and seller of Pokemon cards, chances are you've been following the ever-changing tax rules, but if not, here's a quick recap. Back in 2021, the Inflation Reduction Act made it mandatory for all selling platforms such as eBay, PayPal, Whatnot, and others to track user transactions and issue 1099s to the IRS for all cumulative sales over $600 throughout the year. This meant that tens of millions of smaller sellers who sold more than $600 in items throughout the year would be required to complete a Schedule C on their 2022 tax return, tracking and justifying their expenses, and then paying income taxes on the remaining profit. Now, I can tell you from personal experience that this can be an intimidating process and can be quite overwhelming, particularly for those who are inexperienced in tax policy or for those who haven't kept detailed records of their purchases, their expenses, and their sales throughout the year. Naturally, this was an incredibly unpopular piece of legislation set to affect online platforms and buyers and sellers of Pokemon cards in a very significant way. However, this change was so significant that the IRS blinked at the last minute, announcing in December that it didn't have the necessary time or resources to fully implement this new policy for the 2022 tax year, deciding to delay the 1099 requirement for one additional year. Now, technically, all profits are still required to be reported on tax returns, and some commentators have suggested that the IRS may require online platforms to forward 2022 1099s later this year so the IRS can retroactively review and verify sellers' tax returns are accurate and honest. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but what I can say is this is a mess. I've addressed reseller taxes in several other videos on my channel, hoping to help others organize their information and prepare for tax season, but the uncertainty and inconsistency is only contributing to what I believe is a ticking time bomb within the hobby. Anyway, with tax season approaching here in the United States, I'd strongly recommend you start organizing your own information and consult with a CPA, particularly if you buy and sell regularly online. I also have a few helpful videos that I'll leave linked down in the description below. Anyway, guys, before I unveil my top 5 videos of the month, consider hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. I put hours and hours of work into each and every one of these videos, and your support goes a long way in helping me keep motivated and staying on the grind with these videos. But anyway, I truly appreciate you all for watching, so let's roll into the top 5. Whether it's his enthusiastic reaction or the wide-ranging diversity of cards that make up his submissions, it's hard to find a better PSA returns video than those made by Gem Mint Pokemon. Recently, Zach has been posting several waves of PSA returns to YouTube, including some unique and interesting cards that I've never really seen before. It's always fun and educational to hear the backstory on the various cards Zach sends out, so I'd highly recommend these videos if you're looking for something lighthearted and fun. Rolling into the new year, Dan at Ketchumall Collectibles posted a 2023 market predictions video along with his updated business plan for the year. Now, in addition to rebranding his business and channel with a new logo and a new beard, you gotta love the beard, Dan laid it all out, including his take on upcoming reprints, future grading prices, and various buying and selling strategies. It's a great look behind the curtain of one of the most active and educated sellers in the market, and definitely worth a watch. Mason at Cardinal Gaming is always giving us an insider look into the inner workings of gaming stores and their relationship with Pokemon manufacturers and distributors, and in this video, he pulls back the curtain to discuss the growing difficulty of sourcing sealed booster boxes. This booster box famine, as Mason calls it, is being felt across the market, including many larger retailers, many of whom have had to turn to breaking down other products to source booster packs. It's a fascinating look at the current state of the market from a perspective most otherwise wouldn't have access to. If you've been observing the modern market, definitely give this one a watch. Sentimental collection videos are my personal favorites, and this one by Rusty hit really hard. In this video, Rusty shares his father's binder collection with his viewers, along with some of the heartfelt memories accompanying the various cards within its pages. Now, this isn't a video with prices jumping off the screen or close scrutiny of conditions, but rather a wholesome reflection on why we all collect in the first place. Frankly, this is one of my favorite Pokemon videos Rusty has ever posted, and that's really saying something since Rusty is one of the best to ever do it. I highly encourage you to go check this one out. Lastly, let's wrap it up with something a little bit different. You may know Top 10 Pokemon for his auction recap videos, but this time he's counting down some of the worst Pokemon investments over the last few years. With a mix of modern and vintage cards making the lineup, it's a bit surreal to see the price drops that some of these cards have taken since their all-time highs. Perhaps not entirely surprising though, the common thread seems to be saturation in their populations and their availability. Anyway, it's a fascinating watch and one that I would highly recommend. Well guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Breaking News, where we break down some of the most important Pokemon news stories each and every month. Let me know your thoughts on these stories down in the comments below, and if there are any major news stories that I missed, definitely send them my way. Anyway guys, I'm Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Thanks for spending your time with me today, and we'll see you with the next video. Till then, stay well everybody, and enjoy collecting.